It's the last 60 days of the year, and people everywhere are shouting at you to
push harder, to finish strong, to strive.
Start these really strict challenges.
Do you know you have 30 minutes?
Are you kidding?
30, yes.
But sis, they're wrong. This time of year feels like a lot, especially as women who juggle multiple roles, because we don't have the luxury of it just being all about us. We have holiday plans, we have the kids, their activities, work deadlines, family, extended family, friends. The list goes on. And for many of us, we are also carrying some level of grief for loved ones that we've lost as we work into the holiday season, but almost like a grieving also of the goals that we did not reach. And right when life feels like it is at the all-time busiest of all, that is the very time that people are telling us to lean more into stricter routines and harder challenges. No. If you are feeling overwhelmed or like you didn't hit many of your 2024 goals, I want you to know that doing less in this season may be the very thing that you need in order to achieve the life of your dreams. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what you need to do in order to refocus on what truly matters so that you can feel more energized, really good about yourself, and step into 2025 with peace and confidence. For so long, we've been taught to approach success and accomplishments from a male perspective. You push harder, you work through exhaustion, you strive for the most, you do everything in your power in order to succeed, ignoring your mental, your emotional, and your personal needs. But as women, tuning into those very needs is our greatest strength. Not through hustle, sis, but through intention. We talk a lot about the Proverbs 31 woman, but we have broken her down as a woman with a long to-do list of all of the things that she does, that we take out the heart of intention that she has for all of the things that she chooses to manage. If we've learned nothing else from the hustle harder culture, it should have been that this excessive movement and constant busyness doesn't really get us further into the life of our dreams, but further and further into burnout. And so, no, we're not subscribing to that as we enter into the last 60 days of the year. This winter arc is about leaning into doing the small thing, but doing it with intention. That is going to move the needle forward for you in a way that you can keep up with it. First, I want you to pull out all of your dreams and goals, your visions that you had for 2024. And before we dive into it, let's do something important. I want you to take a second and think of all of the guilt, all of the shame, all of the judgment that you have for yourself for all of the goals, visions, and dreams that you did not get to in 2024. And I want you to bottle it up and release it, because none of the guilt, none of the worrying over it, none of the judgment or the shame that you carry is going to carry you closer to that goal. So let it go. If it has not happened, that does not mean that it's never going to happen. It just has not happened yet. Okay, so let's revisit all of the goals that are still important to you, because let's not pretend. We're only taking the goals and the dreams, the visions that are still important to us. And I want you to ask yourself, what is the smallest action that I can keep up with, that I can do consistently, that is going to move the needle forward and get me to my dream life in this area? It is usually the smallest, most consistent action that you can take that gets you to fulfilling that goal and gets you closer to that dream life. So that is where our focus is going to be for our winter arc. Now that we've let go of all of the pressure to change it all at one time, suddenly, in the last 60 days, child, let's talk about how we can break down the smallest action step that we can take consistently in the 4 areas of intention that you want to focus on in order to thrive in your winter arc. That's going to be your mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical health. You know that feeling when your mind is racing and you just can't really focus on one thing? It feels like you have 1,000 tabs open in your mind. This is where that feeling of being overwhelmed can really settle in and have you trying to do a million things at once, not accomplishing anything significant in any one area, or focused on something that's not necessarily important to do right now. If that resonates with you and you just feel like, yes, my mind is really cluttered and I'm really overwhelmed, it is time for you to clear space mentally. In order for you to make better decisions, to get clear about the visions and goals that are aligned with your values and what you actually want, that you are truly walking in your purpose or aligned with God's will, you have to have some sort of clarity. And carrying around this mental fog or being cluttered does not help you find that clarity, that peace, nor gives room for you to make the best decisions or to even know what is the next right step. And y'all know all year I've been telling you that you need to journal because I really feel like it helps with this part of your mental health. But sis, this is not a time for you to go out and buy another journal. It is not a time for you to pick up a full-blown new journaling practice, okay? Let's go back to our question. What is the smallest action that I can take that I can actually keep up with every single day? And for your mental health, it's writing one thing that you're grateful for every single day and a brain dump. This can take as little or as long as you need it to take, and you need minimal supplies, barely anything at all. And even the busiest of us can fit this into our schedules. This is something that is very feasible and very impactful if you do it consistently, because setting a tone of gratefulness automatically starts to refocus us on the things that are important. Sis, trust me on this one, grab a notebook or your phone. Okay. And all you need to do is jot down the one thing that you're grateful for and then proceed to empty your brain of everything that's occupying it. Don't overthink this. It can be anything on your to-do list, person you need to call, a deadline that is worrying you, something that doesn't feel right, but you don't really know how to pinpoint it. Whatever is running through your mind, take 1-2 minutes, write it or type it out. I like to do this on my phone, y'all. You know, I'm a digital girl, so I will open up the notes app on my phone and just throw out a brain dump really, really fast. For me, a brain dump is like closing all of the tabs on my computer or decluttering my space, right? You know how you have things around that you just kind of gather and you don't really have a place to put it, so you just shove it on the dresser or a table or whatever. I'm literally looking at my nightstand right now, and it needs to be decluttered, okay? And a lot of the stuff on my nightstand is not really important. It's just taking up space. So if I would just take the time to clear off my nightstand and get rid of the stuff that's no longer serving me, that doesn't really have an importance, it's just taking up space, my space would automatically start feeling so much lighter, and I could actually see what is useful and actually use it. That is what a brain dump does for us. And if you get in the habit of doing this every single morning or evening, wherever you want to put it, sis. I like to do mine in the morning because it gives me clarity for the rest of my day. Okay. So once you get in the habit of it and you do it consistently, you will find how much easier it is for you to see what is important, what is a priority, what is just taking up space, throw that away, and be able to move throughout your day and through your journey so much lighter and feel more free. And once you have this practice of gratitude and this mental clarity exercise every single morning, it becomes so much easier to get your tasks done. Okay, so once you do that, you need to choose one non-negotiable thing to do from that list and complete it. And once you complete it, I want you to take the time to recognize that you have completed the task and celebrate it. Don't overthink it. It does not have to be some grand, extravagant celebration. For me, and I talked about this before, I celebrate drinking my water because it's one of the goals that I had this year. Drink more water. My morning water intake is celebrated with my delicious favorite cup of coffee. That is a way that I celebrate taking care of this task that I say is important to me, and it gets me closer to the goal. And this is how we romanticize our day-to-day life. This is how we see the beauty in things and also build the confidence and the trust in ourselves, because when you become a person who takes care of your tasks, the promises that you make to yourself that you're going to do, you become a person who is more productive. You become the woman who can juggle and manage all of her roles and actually love and enjoy life while you're doing it, even when it gets busy. Because we're not going to act as if juggling all of the things is always easy and stress-free all the time. No, we don't live in a fallacy, right? But when it gets stressful, another micro habit that you can incorporate is taking the time to pause and breathe. And if you're like me, this is going to be a time that you incorporate your faith. I breathe, I reset my nervous system, I ground myself, and then I ground myself in God's truth. I have found that moments where I'm starting to feel myself stress and get a little anxious or overwhelmed, that taking the time to just pause and breathe and ground myself in God's truth makes the world of a difference. So choose a scripture, choose an affirmation. I like to say scriptures like, there's a Psalm that says, "Be still and know that I am God." And girl, once I start saying stuff like that over myself, no matter how stressful the situation might be, I start to realize who is in control. There is a faith in a greater power that looks over me, and that small action step is more than enough to refocus me on what is important, what is a priority here, what can I let go right now, what do I need to focus on right now in this moment. And if there's nothing else that I learned this year, I truly learned what Pastor Darius Daniels from Trans Church, he says this all the time, that your spiritual health is not the only part of you that is important, but it is very important because it impacts every other area of your life.
Spiritual disciplines aren't in place to slow you down. They actually speed you up. While other people are straining, while other people are sweating, you can be stepping your way there. Is there anybody here tonight that's made a decision that I want to experience spiritual acceleration? I want God to do it for me swiftly.
And that has been so true for me, because when my spiritual health is not where I need it to be, my emotional health is no bueno, my mental health, garbage. Okay, I really struggle with focus and confusion, and we know that confusion is not of God. Okay. And we think that having a healthy spiritual life looks like this grueling or daunting practice that takes hours and hours. But sis, being strong spiritually is really just maintaining a connection with God throughout your day. And these little moments of breathing, pausing, inviting God into the moment, reminding yourself of scripture, of some truth, taking a second to pray as you move throughout your day is a way for you to keep spiritually strong and healthy.
When he engages in the act of self-care and practices spiritual disciplines, he gets further faster.
Use these moments to be your anchor, sis. Anchor yourself in one scripture, one affirmation, so that in these moments where you start feeling overwhelmed or stressed, give it to God. Peace that surpasses all understanding does not come out of something that I can manufacture, does not come out of us working harder, pushing and striving for more. True peace, the one that surpasses all understanding, comes from a dependence on God. It is packaging it all up and giving it to Him and trusting Him to be and do all that He says that He is, okay? Put it in the hands of the Creator, the one who made heaven and earth, to the one who made creation, the one who made me and you, the one who holds our plans, our future, and our hope. Give it to Him and trust Him with it. In this space, I have seen that we focus a lot on morning routines and, starting your day off right, which is very important. But the biggest impact to getting to our dream lives and seeing our goals and our visions fulfilled lies in our evening routine. How you end your day is just as important as how you start it. And a lot of us are just crashing out at the end of the day, like crawling in the bed or Netflix binging and falling asleep on our phone, scrolling through social media, and completely missing out on this really crucial key to thriving. This is where your evening reflection comes in. The course of our lives is really in the quality of our reflection, because if you're not taking the time to sit with yourself and to see how things are affecting you, to see the habits and the patterns, and really understand and checking in with yourself to what is happening, you're going to end up looking up 3, 4, 5 years down the line and wondering, how did I even get here? Like, this is not the life that I wanted. This is not the path that I thought I was on. And it's because you were not checking in with yourself. So you have to create space where you are checking in. And let's go back to our question. What is the smallest action step that we can take to consistently make sure that we are doing an evening reflection? And it's super simple. You literally just need to ask yourself, how do I feel today? That's it. And answer it in truth, in spirit and in truth, as the church would say. Answer it honestly. What made me feel good and why? What didn't make me feel good and why? This bothered me, I'm not sure. They said this, and this is how I felt after they said it. This is another one that you don't want to overthink. You just want to let it flow. And I don't care if you're writing it, if you're typing it, if you are doing an audio recording or a visual recording, if you're just processing out loud or in your head, wherever you need to start, just start. I would recommend you doing some kind of record so that you can go back and, okay, I reflected for this evening. Let me go back over last week and see where I was, or if I can pick up on any pattern. And then depending on how you do therapy, if you're doing therapy once a week, then you can do a review of your week of evening reflections. And then when you sit down with your therapist the next week, process, this is what I saw throughout last week's reflections. You see what I'm saying? So it's helpful to have a record or a log of these. And I think it's fun to look back at some of my reflections from when I was a mom of 2 and struggling really, really bad with not even just like sleep. And seeing my kids now at 13 and 10 and not having those issues that I thought were just like never going to go away, I think is really cool to be able to go back and see how much your mindset changes and how much life itself changes and the challenges of life change. Having that evening reflection really does help you process and even quiet your mind down. It helps me sleep better at night because I am a person who needs to externally process, but I've been learning how to externally process in safe spaces, which means I don't need to talk this through with another person every single day. Like I don't need to pick up the phone and talk to a friend about how I feel or what's weighing on me every single day. Sometimes it's just safer to process something with yourself. And evening reflections allows me to do that and then go to sleep. Because sleep is just as important than everything else that we've talked about today. Okay. Now, this is where your homework comes in, sis, because your winter arc is going to be personal to you. I want you to take all of the goals that you have that you want to continue to work on throughout the rest of this year and maybe into 2025. And you need to develop the smallest action step that you can do consistently, just like we did for the different areas we talked about in this video. I want you to do that for your goals. And then if you feel comfortable, share them with us down in the comment section so that we can help each other out, because we need to make sure that these action steps are as small as we can get them, but they're also powerful. So, if you see an action step that you think can get smaller, help a sister out, girl. Like, sis, I feel like this can be smaller. Have you thought about it this way? Or maybe try this. Or if you have something that you've been doing throughout this year that has been very impactful, share it with us so we can help each other, girl, so that we can really thrive for the last 60 days of this year and into 2025. And I believe when we invite God into these simple action steps and into our winter arc, we're not just going to be checking off boxes, we're actually going to be nurturing the aligned versions of ourselves. I love you, sis, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.